Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending our District Delegate Assembly meeting. We're delighted to have you today, and let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. See if I can get up.
Joe, you can stay seated.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball. Or you're swaddling play.
Okay, let's begin our agenda. And we have the approval of the June 1st, 2023 District Delegate meeting minutes. May I have a motion, please? Motion to approve. May I have a second? I have a second. Are there any changes, any corrections? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Our guest speaker, as usual, every meeting, we hope, will be Sherry Flynn, the representative of our district at the City Council.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm your City Council representative, Sherry Flynn, if you do not know. I thank you for having me here and having me speak and give you an update on what's happening in the city and with the City Council. I have been on vacation, luckily. I was in Maui all last week, and a much-needed vacation. It was beautiful. After losing my reservation and then having my flight canceled, we finally did get there the same day. So anyways, but I'm very glad that I had a vacation. We do not go back to the City Council until August 22nd. So there is like a summer break right now. I wanted to say there's great news as far as the cannabis warehouse off of Charles Street was voted down and not approved by the Planning Commission 5-0. And then it went to the City Council on July 11th, and everyone except Colleen Wallace voted to also agree with the Planning Commission to not approve the cannabis warehouse, which was directly surrounded by residential homes that had been there like 20 years. They had changed the zoning on it from residential to industrial. And I think the Planning Commission did an excellent job. The City Council came in also. Odor was the main concern because cannabis, this would be a production facility, and the odor would be right where people are down the street from the high school, things like that. So that was the key item, but other items were also there. I think that we should be looking at, and I think there's support for this with other council members, is to revisit our cannabis ordinance. There's no requirement that we have cannabis in the city, and I think that we should really look at only allowing what we had originally said, one cannabis store per 10,000 residents. That means about 3, which is what we have, and I think that's all it should be. We should not be allowing manufacturing within the city. Other areas are finding that it's not bringing in the money that they thought it would, or the tax base, and it's causing a lot of division in the city, and a lot of, just hasn't panned out. And I would hate to end up up in the Santa Barbara area, Carpinteria area. They have literally turned almost all their fields into cannabis grows, and it has just like ruined their city. And they have not seen the money coming in. There's a lot of underlying illegal cannabis that is undercutting the price of legal cannabis, and you know, it probably should have been foreseen, but that is what's happening. And then I think you also invite a possible crime element into your city. I'd like to tell you that Jeff Horn, the interim police chief, has been put on medical leave. Mr. Hamner was put on medical leave a couple months ago, and then Jeff Horn was made interim police chief. He's now on medical leave indefinitely. And now Lieutenant Derek Thazier is now the interim police chief. I've been talking to different people, and the police department is really, really up, has a lot of chaos going on, and there's a lot of lawsuits and people suing each other, and I think what we really need to do is get an outside police chief in here that has no connection to anyone within the city and really get our police back to where they should be. We're going to be losing a lot of people if we don't do that. Tom Miller is the utility director. He was put on administrative leave as of Monday. They're going to be doing a forensic audit of the utility department. There's going to be a meeting at City Hall on Tuesday, August 15th, 5 p.m. with the City Council. It's a special meeting to go over this. There has been some irregularities in funding. Last year there was, or the beginning of this year, there was $4 million in the black, and now they're $9 million in the red in 1 year. 5 years ago they had 60 million. It's just been going downhill. And whenever I would look at any contracts, it all led to the utility department where the problems are. So I'm very, very grateful to Lincoln Bogard, who's now acting city manager for the next 2 weeks because Doug Schultz is on vacation, and he is a finance director, and he is looking at this and has pushed for a forensic audit. Also, there was I don't know if you're aware, but the utility department was pushing to no longer have Edison supplying electricity to the city, and we would pay them quite a bit of money. So they were going to look at doing a 220 kilovolt substation, and it would be owned completely by the city of Banning, and we would not have Edison in there anymore. However, what didn't really come out is that it's going to be $25 to $35 million to do that. And it has been said that it will be bonds. However, if there's any rate changes to the utility, the bonds must go in front of the voters. So it wouldn't be something that they could just do. But we've already spent almost $200,000 in a filing fee and a preliminary study to Edison. So we'll see where what that ends up. I'm not for doing that at all. Also, Stagecoach Days, going to be September 8th, 9th, and 10th. The rodeo's on Saturday, and we just approved 3 historic carriages. And my one concern of that at the council meeting was the liability to the city. There's a lot of, if you're just going to display them, I don't have a problem with that, but if you're going to have horses drawing them down the street, you run into liability problems like, for example, Disneyland no longer will allow to have horse-drawn carriages because they had one go off into the side and injured people, and they were sued massively. So I have asked for, it's a specialized type of insurance, so I've asked before we ever do anything with horse-drawn carriages for Stagecoach, please have the insurance in place, or at least let us know what that will cost us. Also, on the July 27th meeting, there was a proposal to increase the city manager's signing authority from $25,000 to $100,000. That would mean that he would not have to present that to anyone. He could just sign up for up to $100,000. After questioning this and looking at the documents we were presented with, I had it tabled. It's going to come back on August 22nd, I'm assuming. It was not, the only example that was close to the city of Banning out of 30 cities on this chart was Palm Springs that has less than 50,000, but they are more like at 45,000, we're at 30. And none of the other cities compared. But some cities, like Anaheim, which is a very large city, had upped theirs to 100 to 200,000. They found that that was not working. They put it to 100, and then eventually they put it back to 25,000 because it just kind of lost control. And cities are all over the place, so I'm hoping that they will come back with a better study and better comparisons in cities that are actually like banning. And I'm not for raising that anyways, but let's see here. Okay, so then the Highland Fire, that was very scary. I saw it start. It went very quickly. I got in my car, I drove up to Breckenridge and saw the flames going over the top of the hill, like 20 foot high. And I called Doug Schultz and I said, look, you got to get someone out here. I don't see police, I don't see fire, he didn't know anything about it. And I said, they're coming right up over Breckenridge. You know, once they got going, they did a great, excellent job. Very proud of them. But it did take a little while for them to go. The next day, I met at the meeting out in Beaumont at the command center. And it was all the police, the fire, CAL FIRE, everyone. It was very interesting. I was the only council person who came. I then took a tour with our fire chief. And the command center was put together in 8 hours. And this is like a little city. It was just absolutely amazing. You know, they had the governor's trailer there. They had, I mean, everything you can imagine. They have porta potties. They have a whole kitchen where they prepare food and a whole tent set up. And then they have sleeping areas that are row after row of trailers, large trailers, and they have bunk beds in there where they can sleep when they need to sleep. And it was very, very impressive, and I think they did an excellent job controlling that fire and all the other fires around too. West Nile virus is obviously a problem. I understand about the gentleman who was bit and was very ill. I think he's getting better. I'm hoping so. I did call Vector Control today, and they are actively investigating. So I have a call in to the manager there, Mike, who's going to call me back and get more information for you. Because the city contracts with Vector Control, you can't call Vector Control directly. You have to call the city. So you need to, code enforcement, if you want to take the number down, it's 951-922-4821. And you can call them, and then they would contact Vector Control to come out. I'm very concerned with, I know I live in Pine Valley, and for weeks now I've been, a lot of people are watering too long, and then the gardeners blow the debris into the gutters, and then it backs up. And I've been taking my little pooper scooper and going in and pulling it all out, and actually spent over an hour picking it all up and down the street and putting it into a bucket. And it just, you know, it's just a breeding ground for mosquitoes. I don't know if, you know, I know we stopped our street sweeping, but it appeared that street sweeping did come down. They did come down? Okay, is that going to be a continuing? Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Okay, and then I also attended the Boot Barn opening on July 14th, and that's a beautiful store. I don't know if you've visited it. It's much larger than I thought it was going to be, and it was a very nice opening, and we're also going to have PetSmart, I'm hoping by October, and so that is a real benefit to Banning to see some new stores, and especially that are close to us, so we don't have to drive downtown or anything. I'll also be attending the League of California Cities annual conference and expo as a delegate, September 19th through the 22nd up in Sacramento, and representing Banning there. And then as far as ARE, still my little pet peeve, but just an update, there's still no required audits that have been done, and I put it back on the agenda again. I'm hoping it comes up on August 22nd to go back and review that contract. No solutions have been done, and they are in breach of their contract, and there needs to be accountability on that. So I want to thank you for listening. If anyone has any questions, again, I encourage you to come to the city council meetings or watch them on TV, or you can go on Zoom and you have 3 minutes to talk about anything that concerns you. And we really need community participation from Sun Lakes, from all over, but it's really important that Sun Lakes voices their concerns on what's happening in the city. So if anyone has any questions. Okay. Animal, oh God, I just did a blank. Animal rescue, no. I'm just doing a blank. It's, okay, so it's a nonprofit animal rescue that the city has hired to do our animal control for the last 2 years. Yeah. Any other questions? Right, right. Well, I'm wondering, can the HOA, if you are informed of what the address is, can you send them a letter and ask them to not overwater because of this situation? I don't think that's something the city would do, but.
Sherry, I know that when the restrictions were in place, there was a number for residents to call, kind of to tattle on your neighbor. I don't know if there still is, but it was the water, sorry, it was the water authority with Banning. I'm sorry, yeah, the water department. Now, I don't know, now that restrictions have been lifted, I'm not sure. I do know, the problem with the association is we do not have a rule in there that says you can't overwater. The association doesn't have that rule, so we wouldn't be able to send a violation. If anything, it'd be just a courtesy call, hey, your sprinklers are on, this amount of time. And that's, something I think we could probably do on an individual basis. Or what might be even better is putting something out in notification, e-blast or on Channel 97 and Facebook, talking about making sure you are conserving and not overwatering. Try that.
Yeah, because there are people that are watering every single day for long periods of time, and I've noticed if they weren't doing that, we would have dry gutters pretty much, especially with the heat. But there's so much water going down there, it never dries out. So. Yeah, yeah, it's a problem. It's a real problem, especially with the West Nile here.
Sure.
Yeah.
If there's going to be comments, please go to the microphone. You cannot be heard on our Channel 97, and you cannot be heard actually by a number of people here.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, just what we can do is I'm going to work with Hernan on getting an advertisement out to notify everybody.
Sherry? Could I recommend too, maybe the district delegates, we could put it in our newsletters too, especially with the heightened awareness of the West Nile virus in our area being reported. If we could all encourage be aware of the overwatering, maybe that'll help too.
Yeah, and maybe some people don't realize they're overwatering, or they don't know how to work their controller. And it's been set for that for, a long time, and so maybe we can just go to our neighbor and say, hey, do you need help with that controller? Do you want me to, because it is a problem, and if you explain how West Nile is now here, I think people would be more than willing to try to fix that. So.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you for your comments. We appreciate your attending every week. I would like to note that each district is represented today, which has probably happened only 2 or 3 times this year. We do have a non-voting representative for District 10 because Peggy is in the hospital, and a group in the district have appointed a representative to take take notes, okay? And let's continue on with our agenda. We have the Recreation Department report, and we have Dario Puig. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me here. Can you hear me? Great. We've just been a little bit busy here with, I call Fire Friday and Mud Monday. But so right now, our department's on Operation Cleanup, as we say. So what we have got lined up for you, we put everything on the calendar that is the usual suspects. So that's shredding, that is the garage sale things. Everything that is staple is already on the calendar, and also we've done the staples and put on the calendar for the following year. It hasn't been posted, but you can reach out to Linda if you are working on a project, you know, for instance, the charity or something that you want to find out the exact date, or you're making plans. Linda has those dates. But what we do have, first I want to make a little announcement. We are accepting application for people that want to join us in the Recreation Department. You will, you'll talk to Gloria, and anyone really with our department, anything from accounting to design to whatever, or you just want to have fun, come join us. Anyway, I want to say that Channel 97, people that haven't been watching it, it's a new source of information. I mean, you guys have seen Lori on it talking about different parts of the, we're going to use that more. So if you haven't been watching Channel 97, yeah, start watching it. It's, we're going to try to keep you updated that way, just because we have that utility to it. So also, if you guys notice this, or read the lifestyle, I wrote an article about technology on your telephones, right? So I'm going to go ahead, and I got a nice response, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and post the classes, and I'll add more to it if I get a response. So you should see that up. Hopefully by Monday, I'll have the classes lined up. And also, what FRS has done is we're going modern here all the way. We're going to go ahead and get pads, and soon we'll accept credit cards and things like that. And going to make things a little bit easier and more seamless for you that we're working on. And as far as, let's get to the fun stuff. Guess who just got back? Our director over here. Say hello to Thomas. But you know what he wants to do? He wants to bring Hawaii here. So we got a pop-up in September. He'll tell me when, but look out for a luau. Is that what you said, a luau? A luau he wants to bring to Hawaii. See, yeah. And he's even got the shirt on. So look for September, pop-up. We're going to have a luau. Hey, he's going to bring Hawaii to us, so let's support it. You guys, thank you again for the Sunday ice cream social. Very successful. Look out for the next one that's coming up August the 7th. Promise to have sugar-free. I know it's going to get that one. We also, with the restaurant, we're working on a Monster Mash for October. It'll be like October 20th. It'll be that style, so start getting out the costumes. If you like dressing up, we're going to also post that and give you a little bit more information on that. So, you know, again, we need for you guys to, you know, help us. Support also the international dancers. They're coming on the 5th. They're also doing a matinee. And I've noticed the reservations are pretty strong for brunch. So if you haven't made a reservation and you're going to go see the matinee, go ahead and book your brunch for us. And weekend entertainment, we're still going to do it under the stars. We're gonna keep our eye on the weather for y'all and keep you posted if we're going to end up moving that. One of the things we want to tell you is everyone get involved. There's a lot of clubs. There's a lot of organizations that you guys can get involved with. And also, since you represent your districts, talk to your districts. You know, tell them, listen, if there's something that you need from us, we would be more than happy to talk to you about it, because that's what we're here for. We're here to serve you. Without you, what do I do? Huh? Nothing. Follies are coming up also. It's going to be at the end of September. Again, support them. I've watched them as far as rehearsed. So cute. I'm not supposed to say that. And also with September Jazz, you know, we're doing the Jazz Festival thing for people that enjoy that, and we're doing it in the matinee. again, and it's make your brunch as far as reservations, and that'll be on the 17th September again. We didn't get a lot of response last time, so I'm hoping you guys support them if you guys want them back. Okay, September Activity Day, the 23rd. This is the time for anyone that's got clubs to shine and to bring in new people. We've got a lot of new people that we need to bring in. So support that, and also walk around, talk to people. You may find a new interest. So really want to support that, and that's going to be from 1 to 4, September the 23rd, if you want to put that on your calendar. Also been watching the Playhouse. They got 3 dates, so support them, and hopefully they'll put on a 4th date because there was such an over demand for it. You guys, your dogs are always neglected. So we've got the dog show. What we're going to do is a Halloween dog show parade. That's coming up in October. Look out for details. We're going to do something a little more fun and different. Make it, like a, I don't know. Anyway, you'll see the difference. But bring your dogs in, small, little, but start making the costumes. November also, Fall Craft Show. We were planning on doing it in September. But we're going to go ahead and see, they told me that last year there was a conflict with another craft show, so we want to make sure that there's no conflict. So look out for details where that is. Like I said, anyone that wants to get involved, the recreation committee, that would be you guys. You choose what's going on campus here. The entertainment, what shows we pick, as far as the themes for everything. It's sort of like it's your mother. I call it the mothership. It's your mothership. But again, say bye, Dario. Thank you very much. And again, you guys know where we are. Linda, if you need anything. Oh, sorry, questions.
Thank you, Dario. Oh,
Question?
go ahead.
Yes, I have a question for Dario. Rumor has it, my phone's already ringing. Oh, I'm Judy Creel with District 15. Hi. Anyway, the question is the table in the foyer, the big table as you come in, the front doors. I sold it. Are you gonna take it out? Everybody's asking me, and I
Your
don't.
board is always working, and they're working right now on the renovation, and they wanted to take some measurements, and they wanted to see how the entrance is. What they're doing is they're preparing for when the remodel job is. They need a space for y'all to be comfortable, and that's why they pulled that table, is what I believe. They asked me to move it, and I think that's what it was, but to be honest with you, we didn't get rid of it. It's not going to go anywhere. It's temporary.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Linda, go ahead. Use the microphone.
I'll put a note. It's going to come back, I promise.
You guys, let me kind of just clear that up. So in a shortened version, the board looking at it, thinking, well, that lobby bar might be a big use when they close down the lounge and look at the expansion, if that happens. Well, in that, the board's looking and saying, let's try it out. Let's see what the flow would be like. Not only that, a lot of times we have had residents in wheelchairs or walkers come in and have to navigate around the table. They're just looking at and seeing on a trial if this is going to work better. Like I said, nothing's permanent, but the board just wants to see how this goes. That's why you'll see there's more chairs and little tables in that area there, looking to see if it could be a little more social area for people.
Go ahead,
Ann Hofer, District 12, Dario. I called your office 2 weeks ago to find out about Shredding Day. Is that Shredding Day? I didn't hear what you said about that, if you did.
It is on the calendar. We have it scheduled all throughout this whole year and next year. If you can't find the flyer, call our office. Linda will be happy to tell you all the dates.
When is the next one?
I don't have that right here, but I can get that to you if you just call my office, I promise. And also, it's posted right outside of our office.
Thank you, Dario.
Of course.
Okay. Thank you, Ann. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
What was the date again for that jazz festival, and was that related to a brunch?
No, I just mentioned that since we are having, it's a matinee, and usually the matinees, people book brunch. And I noticed, I always look at the brunches, they coincide with, the talent or the entertainment. And I did notice that there's a larger number of reservations. So I just mentioned, if you are planning on going, make your reservation early.
What does that have to do with the jazz festival?
I'm plugging our
Linda,
restaurant.
he was just trying to help out and say that if you're going to come to the show, why not go to the brunch as well?
Oh, okay. So there is a jazz festival that day?
Like a jazz concert, I believe.
And
yes.
what's the date?
The date, and also, of course, everything is posted. I usually don't say the exact date because people glue into September, first week, third week, 2 o'clock, the 17th of September.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay.
Anyone else? Questions? Yes, sir.
Cal Martin, District 21. You
Hello.
had mentioned that you wanted help within your office for, is that for volunteer positions, or is there some sort of employment involved?
Oh, no, no, no.
For clarity.
Volunteer.
Volunteer?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
for clarity, thank you.
We're on a budget.
Thank you, Mr. Puig.
Yes, but thank you so
Dario,
much.
thank you very much for your
Of course.
response.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Joe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What? Oh,
Hi, Jason, I just wanted to weigh in for my delegate on that table. I've been here 9 years. That table is like a tradition at the holidays. It's decorated. People are already complaining about it, so I'm sure something can happen to make it work. Right, 100%. Okay, thanks.
Next on our agenda is Thomas with the food and beverage operation.
Good afternoon. Thomas is back. I'm happy to be back, and I'm happy to see everyone. And Joe, welcome back as well. We missed you.
Thank you.
Nice to have everyone together today. I'm just going to reflect a little bit on looking back. We didn't meet in July, but again, we did have the big 4th of July celebration, as I spoke recently at our restaurant committee meeting. 4th of July was a very successful event. I was pleased with the amount of people. Could I change some things? Yes, but live and learn. We learn, and we learn how we can be better, more efficient. But overall, it was a beautiful day. It was well attended. We did lose power for a couple hours, and we did improvise and figured out how to move the buffet out to the front and make sure everybody still got to eat. And that was the main thing. And people still enjoyed themselves overall. So it was a great 4th of July. It was nice to see the patriotism and everyone together. We appreciate all the help and everyone, all the volunteers that assisted us as well that day. We did launch pool service at the pool on Fridays, Saturdays. Initially, it was supposed to be Friday and Saturday, and then we did add Sunday as well. It is offered from 11 to 3 p.m. Again, I must reiterate that when it's very, very hot out and it's 105 degrees, I can't have my staff member out there in the heat. So therefore, there are signs directing people that if they would like to order something, they can go to the lobby bar and order food, and then food will be delivered to them as well. So again, it's supposed to be very warm this weekend, but hopefully we can continue having that person out there. I know it makes a big difference, but that has been going on. I think what I would do different is also launch it much earlier next year. I wouldn't wait till July. I would launch it in June, which that's what we'd like to work toward. But it has gone well, and we are pleased with that. There were several events in July. I've done lots of parties, anniversary parties, events, birthdays. Thankfully, we do have a lot of events coming our way, so we're very grateful for that. The Sand Wedge, as you know, is closed for remodel, so therefore I'm unable to use that now as a room, a party room, whatever I use it when it's not, when it's not in operation for, breakfast. So I'm having to kind of reroute and do things, you know, and we're making it work. We're using the restaurant when we can. We're splitting it, you know, putting up the divider wall and putting groups in the back. Today, the Lady Niners met back there. I have an anniversary party coming up. I mean, different small parties, 40, 50 people, whatever I can do to accommodate everyone. So we are doing that, and it's working out. We look forward for the opening of the Sandwich, a projected date of somewhere around the first week of September. More to come. Again, it's all going to depend on the construction and everything getting into place, but that is the goal. With that said, the restaurant is open for breakfast, so therefore there's no breakfast in the Sandwich, but we are open in the restaurant at 8 a.m. serving breakfast now. So Maria is there to serve and taking care of everyone. So nothing's really changed as far as hours and everything else. We're still doing that. Again, remember the last Saturday of the month is Music Under the Stars. They just had one the last Saturday in July. The next one is August 26th out on the veranda. And also the brunch that we offer is the last Sunday of the month. We just had it last Sunday. Again, the next one will be Sunday, August 27th. At the restaurant, reservations are recommended. We had a full house this last brunch, so we're very pleased with the attendance. As we go into August, we must remember that happy hour is still available. It's offered every Wednesday, every Thursday, from 3:30 to 6 p.m. with discounted drinks and food. We are using the veranda for overflow as much as we can with the heat when people are sitting out there. Again, music was last night, so the first Wednesday is music with Renee. Other than that, looking forward into September, as Dario discussed, I really I don't know why I didn't think about it earlier, and I'm sorry that I didn't, but it's not too late. We're going to do kind of an end of the summer celebration with a luau, and we're going to do a traditional luau. The chef has all the plans underway, cooking a whole pig and doing a really traditional Hawaiian luau. So we're very excited. It's going to be on September the 9th, which is a Saturday. The goal is to have it on the veranda, and we'll have it decorated, we'll have music, and we'll have some dancers, and really have a lot of fun. And that'll be kind of our tail end of summer and our farewell as we start preparing for fall. There will be more to come. Tickets will be on sale. We will pre-sell tickets for this event, and they will go on sale next week, okay? So more details to come on that. Also, looking into October, as we discussed, Oktoberfest is Saturday the 14th of October, and Friday the 20th of October will be the Halloween party / monster ball, as Dario referred to it as. We have not done something for Halloween in quite some time, so we really want to have a costume party and just have a lot of fun here and get everybody to come out and enjoy the festivities. And then don't forget, November the 4th is my annual Greek night, and that will be here in the ballroom. Saturday, November 4th, we will celebrate with Greek food, Greek music, Greek dancing, and Greek libations. So I look forward to that. I will have my family here, and we will have the traditional dances performed, and we just want everybody to come and partake and enjoy the festivities. Other than that, I don't think there's much else to report on my end. I am up for questions from anyone.
Go ahead.
Yes.
For the
Hi.
Hawaiian luau, Pat Puckett, District 11. For the Hawaiian luau, do you know the cost?
I don't, but I'll have it all. We're going to establish it this weekend, so all that, and then tickets will go on sale next week. So I don't have the cost yet. We just talked about it last night and thought,
Okay.
I found a date, and so I'm going to run with it. But yes, as soon as the chef is out today, he's celebrating his birthday, so which is happy birthday to our chef Chris. But we will work on the numbers, and we will sell the tickets starting next week. Okay, so I'm sorry that I don't have that yet.
Okay. All right, Judy Crail again, District 15. Thomas, I just want to say that I think you guys did a fantastic job the 4th of July handling that electricity going out. It was great, what you
Thank you.
guys did. Your
Thank-
staff, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. That means a lot to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, we have a couple more, another, go ahead, sir.
Christian Gonzalez from District 8. First of all, thank you for the service you do at the pool from 11 to 3. I've been asked by some of the residents, though, are you catering more toward the residents or that has families out there? Because 3 hours for them and then 1 hour from 2 to 3 after the kids leave. Is there a way we can go from 12 to 4?
I would love enough, you know, that has to do with staffing and hours and just making sure that I have enough coverage. I'm not quite there, but yeah, certainly. Are you saying for an addition, to do an additional hour?
You can leave the same 4 hours, just split it 2 and 2, 12 to 4.
Sure. We can, yes, I'll sit down, we can talk about that and see what we can do to extend that. We will continue service through September.
Okay.
So, because it's warm the entire month. So certainly, I will sit down and see what we can do with that. So thank you for
Appreciate
that. Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
No. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your report. And the next item on our agenda is Michelle Walters from the Marketing Advisory.
Good afternoon, delegates. And welcome back, Joe. We're so happy to have you back. It's very exciting to see you here and looking healthy. Thank you. So I just want to let you know we had our last meeting on July 11th, and our welcome home for the delegates is scheduled for September 28th from 5 to 7 here in the main ballroom. If you would like your club or group to participate and share information with new residents, please contact Jason Ewalls in admin. So it's time again for Monday Night Football. Our Marketing and Advisory, Restaurant and Lounge Advisory Committees are excited to announce the reopening of the Sandwich Bar and Grill. We are working together to get our new and renovated sandwich up and making us some good money. So again, that's going to be on Monday night, and it's on the 11th. It's going to be 9/11. So I just want to let you also know the following stats in the home sales for Sun Lakes from July 1st through the 24th. Sales, or coming soon as of July 24th, there were 23 homes and 4 condos. Escrows as of July 24th, there were 31 homes. Closed from July 1st to July 24th were 15 homes and 4 condos. The average sale price is $396,384. Average days on the market are 25. So the next one is our marketing committee is working on a plan to help market the repair and replenishment fund for new home buyers. This fund is used to repair or replace assets that have either come to the end of their life or have become inoperable. This fund is not used for general operational expenditures or for capital improvements. To establish this would be a change of our CC&Rs, and voting is required. Our committee is working on marketing ideas to get our residents to vote on this when it is placed on the ballot this fall. We know we need a 75 approval rate to accomplish this. If approved, this could increase our annual income for the HOA by $300,000 to $400,000. There is no cost, again, there is no cost to existing homeowners. This is just for new home buyers. We will be having town halls, videos, and information and lifestyles and in newsletters. This is a benefit to all of us. We want to make sure all of our residents are aware that this is a necessity. There will be more to come in the following weeks and months. And to give you an example, if you did 6 months of $346, that would be $2,076 per new home owner, times 128 homes that have been already sold this year, is $265,728. That's a lot of money that we're missing out on. So that is what we're planning right now, and we'll have more about Monday Night Football. And Joe, would I be able to just talk a little bit just about community awareness? Okay.
Please.
So we did have our community awareness program this last Tuesday, and if you see, I did give everybody the vector control for the mosquitoes. So I spoke with Andrea, and Andrea is working very closely here. She is from Vector Control, and she did our presentation. And she is working with Mark Schleiden. So if there's any areas here, you can call her directly. You do not have to go through the city of Banning. And I don't think that maybe Sherry knew about that, because Vector Control just told us. So it could have been previously that you had to go through the city. But you may go through Vector Control. I don't have that number right now, but it will be on the website. And if you have any problems with mosquitoes, and I know that Linda Vieira had a resident in her district that was bit and was hospitalized and was very, very ill. And I think he's doing much better now. Linda, I think he is. Good. So again, if you're having any problems, and I know Mark Schleiden is working on some of our marshy areas, so he's going to be working with Vector Control and making sure there's no mosquitoes there. And they are putting out a, I believe it was a CO2 pail, and to find out if there's mosquitoes and if they do have the West Nile virus. So I just want to let you know that that is being done here, so you don't have to really worry about it unless you find yourself, you've got a lot of mosquitoes around. Keep empty pails, keep the pails empty, your water buckets, those type of things. Make sure that everything is water-free. And if you have something recycling, like we have a waterfall, mine is chlorinated, so it won't attract any mosquitoes. But if you have standing water, please get rid of it. I want to let you know for our next community awareness program is going to be a very informational overview, an incident report, and the summary of the Highland Fire. It's going to be Tuesday, September 5th from 1 to 3. And we have guest speakers. Candace Jenkins is our EPAP executive team member. Steve Neese is the EPAP Animal Rescue Group. We're going to have City of Banning first responders, Michael Romero, Director of Securitas, Banning Police Department, Riverside County EMD, and Lori Hazelton, her son-in-law was one of the bigwigs that was here at the fire. Her son-in-law is going to come and give a presentation about what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing. The looky-loos that were up there taking pictures, getting in way of the Banning Fire Department and the Banning Police Department. So those are some things that we need to be aware of. And my last thing, sorry I'm taking so much time, is the Veterans Expo. It's an information and resource fair, and it's at the Albert Chatney Senior Community Recreation Center on August 12th from 9 to 12 p.m., and it's open to all military, veterans, family, and friends. And actually, absolutely anybody can go here. Anita Worthen from Four Seasons, we work very closely together, and she is the one that gave me this information, and I told her I would pass it on to everybody. So again, that is Saturday, August 12th from 9 to 12, and that is at the Albert Chatney Community Center. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for the report. Any questions? And next on our agenda is the Charitable Trust Report from David Keeley, our president.
Thank you, David Keeley, Chair of the Sun Lakes Country Club Charitable Trust, a 501c3 organization, California corporation in good standing. I want to share with you very quickly just 2 dates, because I see pens picking up. They're both in November. A number of people have talked to us about Charity Week this year. A very popular event is the Women's Fashion Show and Luncheon. And last October, when plans were made for this year, there was a decision made to spread things out a little bit during the year. So November 5, it's a Sunday, November 5 is the first date I'm sharing. That's when, in this ballroom, the Fashion Show Luncheon will be held. So that's November 5. That happens to be before November 16. It's a Thursday here in the ballroom. People get a chance to come and see the charities that we support. And you will see us give away the $2 millionth that has been provided by charitable giving since 1989 here in Sun Lakes. So those are the 2 dates. The 5th of November, it's a Sunday, and the 16th, the grant presentations for local charities. There'll be a couple of dozen local charities that will be here. You can meet them, and you can see them receive their money for their grant for this year. And I want to just mention to you, in October we went live with a test, but it was live with a website. You can see each of the charities that we support. You can click on their logo and you can go directly to find out more about them. You can go to sunlakescharity.org, sunlakescharity.org. There's plans for you to be able to buy tickets for events in the future, and we're looking at a number of things like that to get into the full 21st century with social media and some of these ways. Thank you very much.
Is that charity or charities? Sun
What?
Lakes Charity or charities?
sunlakescharity.org. sunlakescharity.org. Thanks for asking, and I encourage you to check it, because we can find out how much traffic there is on that site. Thanks a lot.
Good. Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Next we have, okay. Candace, you're going to give the EPAP report, as you usually do. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome back, Joe. It's nice to see you. Today, I'm not actually going to give a report. We would like to ask the delegates their experience with the fire, where they were, what they were doing, how they were notified, what went well, what didn't go well. So if we could start and go around the room, and I will tell you that we have already met with administration, Bob Walter, Randy Robbins, Securitas, Mark Schleiden, and we have done a debriefing. So we have a lot of information that we are compiling, and we'll submit that as a report at the next meeting. So if you guys could start with District 1 and just give us some information about your experience.
Barbara Elness, District 1, our EPAP coordinator, informed me that EPAP was activated, and we notified as many residents as
Can you speak
possible.
up? Could you speak up a little bit, please?
Our EPAP coordinator informed me that EPAP was activated, and we notified as many residents as we could, checked to see if they needed any help, and just waited until we were told that things were under control.
Thank you.
Loretta Kuzar, District 2. What we did was make sure that all of our people were safe and verify that we did not have to evacuate.
Good afternoon, Jim Nickel, District 3. I did receive an email from EPAP on how it was coordinated, any contact. Since I'm also the EPAP coordinator, I have the radios. I did not receive any calls, but I was monitoring it on Channel 97, the blurps. Also on Channel 5, gave very good coverage, and also on email through the press enterprise. But out of my 144 homes, I had one call, and out of my 12 zone captains, I had 2 call me. Of course, we're by the gate, so we're 3,000 homes removed from Breckenridge. So I don't think there was a concern, and I didn't want to get anybody upset or concerned. But I did monitor, but I would have preferred a call so I could stay on my radios, just to be in contact. And I had no idea should I get on or not, but that was my part of it. But I tried to be alert. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave Miller, District 5. We are also down by Gate 3, so we're pretty well insulated from the fire. I'm also the EPAP coordinator, so I did turn on my radio and monitor the command, which did a great job. And also the coordinators up at that area, they did a fantastic job supplying information. There is one thing that I found out, maybe a lot of you have this on your phone or not. There's an app called Watch Duty. WATCHDUTY. Anybody can get it. There's no advertisements on it. You do not pay anything. It's a community service thing. And it monitors all the fires at real time. And as a matter of fact, it goes pretty much the whole western United States, all the way from the east coast of New Mexico, the east border of Mexico, New Mexico, all the way up to Wyoming and to the Pacific Ocean. It's a great app. Get it. When you hear that chopper flying over your house, you can turn this on and find out what's going on. Thanks.
Chris Gonzalez, District 8. I agree, that's a great website to go to, an app to have. I did talk to a couple of my neighbors. We're in District 8, so we're isolated from that. And everybody was pretty much updated. They said they checked Facebook. You guys did a great job letting us know what's going on. The news had a lot of information. The EPAP people were great out here, so I just want to give a shout out to them. But all in all, you know, we were good. We were very well informed, and it was very easy just to ask and get information. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Raylene Kretschmann, District 7. I hopped in my car and went up there. I had the two apps, one from CAL FIRE and Watch Duty, and I was alerted. I went up there because I have friends who live up there, and the EPAP people were immediately there. I was pretty impressed in getting everybody the heck out of there. I also am impressed with the blurbs that we got from the admin giving updates. I had about 10 calls within my district. People were panicked. They were reading the stuff on Facebook. Evacuate, evacuate, and they are not able to because, you know, their mobility is impaired. So I have all their names and told them that if anything changed, I would contact them directly. But I have a new EPAP person now, coordinator, and he's very good, and he stepped in very quickly. So, and you guys did a great job.
Thank you.
Linda Vieira, District 9. I wasn't aware of it except looking on Facebook. I've got no information from anybody. So I appreciate the administration sending out messages.
Sharon Robinson, District 10, subbing for District 10. We're right in the flight path of the helicopters, so we were seeing it firsthand every 3 minutes, the helicopters coming by with the water they got from our lakes, which was great to see that we are able to support the fire service in that way. So we received the notifications on our phones through the emergency alert system. Personally, we followed it with, I know Bob Murray was posting on Facebook quite diligently, and we're in a condo district as well, so we have some limitations of our neighbors and stuff, but we were all out, everybody was out, and keeping each other informed and watching out for each other, and I think that's what we all love about our community. We're all there to support each other. So I appreciate EPAP very much and all the work and effort that they do, and even just seeking this feedback is wonderful, so thank you.
Thank you.
Dolores Doherty, District 4. I found out by my EPAP coordinator, Carolyn Sawyer, who was out of town. She had contacted me, and I kept in touch with Janice Rice, that's part of the executive team, and she did a great job keeping me informed. I did reach out to all of my zone captains in Carolyn's absence and had them contact their homeowners, and they did that. And I took over a zone we don't have a coverage for this particular zone. Found out there's one resident that does not have a vehicle anymore. So I had Carolyn make note of that in our data sheets. And I told the woman, if push comes to shove, we will come and get her if we need to evacuate. So that was very helpful with Janice as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe Firmino, District 18, our coordinator for the district, was in touch. He reviewed everything from the information that he had received, and at the moment of the days involved, he made sure that we all knew what was going on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pat Puckett, District 11. I was not notified of any fire until I saw it from my front yard. My husband is our EPAP coordinator. He was also not notified. We kept abreast on Facebook and by talking to people in the community. So my neighbors did not seem aware or out, or didn't see any of them. No one called me. So we were far away from it, so I think they felt secure, but that's it.
Thank you.
Ann Hofer, District 12. I also did not hear from my EPAP coordinator. I did see the administration bulletins put out. I do have the alerts on my phone. I was aware of it, and of course we saw the helicopters go over with the water. I think there was one call of concern, but I had nothing to tell them other than what I knew coming from outside source. So I'd like to see something a little bit better organized that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jean Yvonne, District 13. I'm blessed to have Janice Rice next door to me, so she was keeping us posted on what was going on. We received notification from the county on our cell phones, and that was very helpful to just have those blasts come out. But I think it might be helpful if there was some automatic alert system on for cell phones in the whole of Sun Lakes, just to have a blast go out from whoever's in charge that day or whatever, because all the addresses are available. And that would have been nice for people to know, because I did get a few calls, but we could look up right off our street and see what was happening, so that was good. But just to have one blast come out to everybody I think would have been helpful to keep, because a lot of people don't have computers and don't do Facebook or whatever, and just to be able to either have it come to your home phone, a blast, or on your cell phone, a text message would be good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evelyn Hawkins, District 14. I was not notified either. However, I rather agree that it would be nice to have one in a different, several hours maybe, but some kind of organized response. I watched the firefighters. I couldn't tell what they looked like, but I watched the firefighters and with binoculars. In fact, I sat for almost 2 days on my porch watching. I have a great view. I'm facing south, so I think they did a great job. It was scary, but I didn't feel threatened at any time. So.
Judy Crail, District 15. We got notified the same way. It was through the news and also on my husband's app. And just looked outside, we saw what was going on. We have a neighbor down the street that used to work for the fire department. She got in her cart and went up to Breckenridge and started knocking on doors and helping the fire people, getting people out, and reported back to us. We basically ended up, almost everybody in my front yard and kept an eye on it, and I think they did an awesome job of getting it taken care of. But I think that I have a new EPAP coordinator, and I think that we could have been better organized than we were we learned a big lesson.
Hi, Greg Voico, District 16. I was coming home from Home Depot and I saw the fire kick off. I thought getting resources there was maybe a little slow, but that's because they threw a lot of equipment at the Retchie fire to the west. But once they got there, they took care of it. I steered clear. Bear in mind, I spent most of my career dressed in Nomex and 9-inch logger boots and carrying cameras and covering fires all over the Inland Empire. I don't think you could have asked for a better outcome. The prevailing breeze blew the fire across the face of the mountain, and the power line road created a wonderful fire break. I got a couple of email blasts, and that was sufficient. And I went and watched the action from the pool. Sherry Flynn was there too.
Nita Cook, District 17. I was first aware of the fire because I was in my backyard and I saw this black smoke billowing up, and it did take a little time for the firemen to get there and start working, but once they did, they really did a great job. I know my EPAP coordinator was made aware of it, and I was in contact with her. That being said, we're in District 17, which is on the north side, so we couldn't have been further away. So the only person that was concerned was my neighbor, and they were in Spain, and somehow they heard about it. So she called me to make sure everything was okay, and I assured her that it was.
Thank you. Linda Spalding, District 19. I can't use the excuse that I wasn't notified because I live with Dick Spalding, who helps run the EPAP organization down there. I did contact a couple of my residents in District 19 because they're up on Singing Hills and in that area, and they were not concerned, but I was going to stay in touch with them. I have one question though, Candace, and maybe for the board also. When you are asked to evacuate in Breckenridge and Cog Hill, I don't know all of them, but they were asked to evacuate, do we have a protocol on where they can go? For example, I'm going to look forward to your answer, but for example, all of the clubhouses were occupied. They had events. Who has the right to ask them to leave if they have an event so that we can have our residents have a place to go? And then we also have to have a place, because I noticed there were several dogs up here, and I just think we need to look at that. I don't know if there is a protocol, Jason.
You're right. Really, there is no written protocol, and that's something that I think can go into policies when we work on that. What I did was told them to direct them to the main clubhouse. We were lucky enough that there wasn't a private event going on here at the clubhouse. It was the music. So they got entertainment. They got to come down here and enjoy that. What we did is we put up more seats. We put out more water stations. We told them Mark was up there and relaying to come down to the main clubhouse. That was the big part. I also, when I was walking around, saw about 6 residents or so that had dogs, and they were just walking around. I was talking to them. I said, you know what, go inside. Don't worry about that. I'd rather you guys just be comfortable right now. So that was kind of a makeshift policy, I guess, Linda, that we were going to bring them here. I would say when the policy does occur, the main clubhouse should be the main point of where everybody should go. We will work on writing that up, but again, I think, like you guys said, all parties involved, from First Service to Securitas to EPAP to CAL FIRE, everybody came together and took care of it real quick, and I think got everybody safely where they needed to be and took care of what they needed to. And I think that was shown by the damage that we did not incur to the community. As you know, we did have some issues, or some up to 47 acres up there, of course, that got burnt, but there was nothing we can do about that. I believe there might have been a couple trees along the fence at the Memorial Park that may have gotten maybe singed a bit, but I don't think we lost anything of importance. So, yes, and the flag got saved too. Yes.
Kate Reed, District 21. I'm a new delegate, so I didn't really know what I was doing. However, I just been to an EPAP training and had the radios. But I was at a different location in Sun Lakes when we discovered the fire, and I immediately went home. We're up on Rio Bravo. I called my EPAP coordinator, and I said, should we be contacting our zone captains about the fire? And he said, what fire? So he said he would call me back. He got in touch with the EPAP center and called me back and said that the CAL FIRE and they were handling it. And at that point, we did not need to evacuate. So we just kept it that way. And then he called me back later when things were shut down and let me know that the center had shut down and we were okay to move forward.
Cal Martin, District 21. District 21 is primarily composed of Breckenridge. So it was right in our backyards. And our house is one that was right across from on the other side to the south slopes of us, which I believe are owned by 14 acres over there that belong to Sun Lakes. We were not at home when this started. Had been down in the Coachella Valley, and my wife and I were coming back. We noticed a fair amount of dark air, which turned into be smoke, which turned into be, hey, is the house on fire? As we were pulling in, gate 6 was closed. We came in through 5, and we're coming up Breckenridge just at the time that the fire was cresting the ridge to come down to the houses. So we hit it just pretty good timing. Many of the neighbors were out on the street. They're taking pictures of it or just watching the progress to see what would happen. Many of the women from the neighborhood had already come down to the main clubhouse. Some had taken their pets with them, and they were very appreciative when they came down here that they were well received and well treated, and the dogs were well received, and they got their little water bowls, and those little tiny gracious acts speak volumes to people when they're in those situations. The guys that stayed on the streets soon were faced with the evacuation order from CAL FIRE, as CAL FIRE was up and down Breckenridge and on the entire south side of Sun Lakes, trying to assess what was going on. We had some bottled water in the garage and a cooler, and I went down to the south clubhouse to put some ice on the water to take it to the firefighters out on the street. Bob Walters was out there going up and down trying to figure out what was going on too, but it was pretty warm that day. And there were a lot of firefighters out there in pretty heavy gear, and they were just obviously maybe needing a cold drink. So I went down to get some water, some ice to put on top of the water, and as I was coming back, I was told I couldn't go back home, which was kind of a problem, as I told the person who had blocked the street, which was Securitas, because I said, there is an evacuation order in place, and my wife is home alone right now with 2 little dogs, and I have the only car, so you kind of got to let me go up the street, which he graciously agreed to do, and I got home without any trouble. Firefighters enjoyed the water. One of the other neighbors was out there passing out popsicles to them to do anything to keep them get cool. And eventually we didn't have to talk to anybody about the status of the fire because it was very much in our faces. We never actually did leave the house, although we had packed up. By the time we had packed up and got everything out to the garage, it was pretty obvious that things had abated and it was going to be contained. And there is a great reason to congratulate all the firefighters who worked so very hard to protect all of the families here at Sun Lakes, because once it gets into the houses, it's just really hard to tell, where it's going to go. We were very, very fortunate that day that there was not very much wind. It was a good plus. Thank you.
Mike Foles, District 22. I don't have an EPAP coordinator at this time. They just resigned. She just resigned recently, about a week before, and was on vacation. I watched the news, Facebook. We kept up on it pretty close, and I only got 2 calls, people wanting to know if they were going to evacuate or not. I said, you'll know when the time comes, and be prepared, and that's about it.
Dan Cosner, District 23. Howard Katz, my alternate, and I are doing tag team today because of obligations that we couldn't avoid. But anyway, I was not notified of the, District 23 is next door to District 21 in Breckenridge. I was not notified of the fire by any EPAP people. I was actually called by a resident on Breckenridge that there was a fire going on up there. But we were able to just monitor it from the street, or I should say I was, and the police did not come into our district to tell anyone to evacuate. Around 5 p.m. there were police going up and down Highland Springs saying there was a volunteer evacuation, but that was the only thing that we got, only contact that we got.
Thank you all for your input. Yes.
Jim Nickel, District 3. Sorry about that.
Keep your hand.
I talked about an emergency generator that we have here because the one call I received, my resident was concerned, her husband's on a breathing machine, and they were afraid there may be a power outage. And we talked that we were going to have a generator in this building. And so has that developed as yet, please?
Yeah, yes, the generator has been purchased. We are installing it within the next few weeks. It should be ready to go. But we did not lose power, so at that point we really didn't need the generator.
Thank you.
Chris, District 8. Unfortunately, I've been part of a lot of disasters in my lifetime. I just want to say that nobody's ever prepared or ready within the first few hours. I know a lot of people got notified and a lot of people didn't get notified. But you know what? People are living their life and they might be gone for the day. The backups might not be there. I just want to tell my residents that, you know, if they have anything, just call us, delegates. And for us delegates that did not get a phone call, you know, you owe it to yourself to call the EPAP, get informed instead of waiting for it. But I think everybody did the best that they could out there. So I just want to throw that out there.
Thank you. Yes?
Real quick, this is more for Jason. I read the contract with FSR. My understanding is there is an internal communication system. I believe Jeannie brought it up. We do have one as a Sun Lakes Country Club, correct? A phone system?
No.
We don't.
Direct your remarks to Candace,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Any other questions? Thank you all for your input. We will compile this information and add it to our report. Thank you.
Thank you, Candace. That was a good idea to get the report. All right, now we have a report from our animal rescue. Steve?
Steve Neese with EPAP Animal Rescue. I'm on the steering committee. First of all, thank you, Dolores, for asking us to speak today to bring you an update on the wildlife situation here at Sun Lakes. And obviously, Joe, welcome back. We're asking the delegates for your help on two issues. The first issue is there are increasing sightings of wildlife in Sun Lakes. And as you probably have heard, we've lost a lot of pets in the last several weeks. The coyotes have taken several dogs. One homeowner had their dog taken off their patio, and the coyote headed down the golf course with the dog in its mouth. One homeowner found their dog partially eaten across the street from their house. They let the dog out on the patio for just a few minutes, and that's all it took. One was taken by a bobcat. One was actually taken by a raccoon, because yes, they can be very vicious. And sadly, all of their deaths could have been prevented. At a past board meeting, a member said at the microphone that something needed to be done about all the predators taking our pets. She had no solutions, but I'm going to beg to differ with the statement by her for two reasons. Number one, we have to remember we are in their domain. We need to take responsibility to protect our own pets from them. We know how to protect them, but for some reasons, some homeowners are not doing it. Number 2, it is against the law to kill, trap, or relocate a wild animal, such as a bobcat or a coyote. You may shoot a coyote if they are on your property and if they are attacking you or a pet. But you also have to remember there's an ordinance in the city of Banning that states that you are not allowed to use a firearm in the city. So you may be in trouble by doing that because some people have said they want to shoot the coyotes.
22.
We at EPAP Animal Rescue have been doing everything possible to educate the people to watch their pets because of the heavy wildlife in the area. We write articles in Lifestyles. We talk about it every chance we can get. We made up a sheet for all new residents, which are being put now into the welcome basket at the new homeowners' welcome dinners. Sandra Burgon put this together, and it explains a lot of things for new homeowners. We asked you at a past meeting to attach this sheet, the same one, to your next newsletter. I hope all of you did this because you were given this sheet to put on your newsletter. It addresses making sure your pet has an identification on it. It addresses what to do if you lose your pet or you find one. And it also addresses the wildlife here in Sun Lakes and how to protect your pets. For new homeowners, you have to make sure you update your chip company with your new phone number and address, and this is not always being done. The second issue we need your help with, when a dog is found, our members go to work to try and find the owner of that dog. Here again, this is where we need your help. I'd like to describe what happens to us all year long. Sandy Burgon, and this is an example of what just happened this week, Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. Sandy Burgon was called by the gate with a found dog. It was a golden retriever with a license on it. But the trouble is, the agency was closed, and so therefore you could not find the owner. Animal Rescue has a chip reader, and Sandy read the chip, and it showed that the address was from Texas, the phone number was from Texas, and it was obviously no longer a working number. The people that moved here did not update the name, number, and address of the chip when they moved here. So here's what took place since the people did not bother to protect their pet. Sandy had to spend almost the entire afternoon and evening trying to find the owner and while taking care of the dog. It went into the next day as well. Now, we can't find foster people to take larger dogs, only small ones. So she had to put the dog in our kennels while trying to find the owner. Well, it was very hot that day. The dog looked like it may not make it. So she kept water in it, kept it fed. Unfortunately, it was very hot, and she wasn't sure about the dog. The next day, the owner called the gate, and Securitas called Sandy, reunited the dog, and the dog survived. So what we're asking you to do is please put in your newsletter that when you move here or you change a chip company, call the company, make sure they have your current address, phone number, and name, and that your dog is properly ID'd with a collar. Both are needed because collars can be lost. And also to protect your pets by not allowing them outside without you going with them to protect them. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. And again, Dolores and Joe, thank you for asking us to talk about this subject. Dolores.
I would like to add something that you mentioned about coexisting with our wildlife. Myself and Sosie Hyatt are going to be having someone come and speak that knows something about wildlife. She works for the Forest Service, and I've gotten information off of Project Coyote, and we're going to be presenting that to people so people can ask questions and know the things, what and what not to do. Like, you don't leave food and water on your patio because you're just inviting them. A friend of mine who is in District 10, in your district, Pat, she has a neighbor, 11, she has a neighbor that throws out dog bones in his front yard. And all he's doing is inviting the wildlife. Right. So if anybody is interested, I'm going to open it up to any other people in the community that want to come to this. It's going to be on August 26th at 5 o'clock in the South Clubhouse.
Great, great. And there is an individual who's feeding the coyotes. I
Right.
can't imagine anything more stupid. Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Jason, can you verify who actually controls the reserve, the preserve? I have been having all kinds of conflicting stories. Federal, state, who knows what.
Joe, you're talking about the hill, right?
I'm talking about the lake and the federal, quote, unquote, the state preserve.
Okay, so
that we
that's
have
something
there.
that we're
Who controls it?
Right.
Who gives us the permission to do what? And what can we do?
Correct. So that's what I'm kind of looking into, and I'm also going to be talking to the board about it.
Okay.
To try to pursue, because as far as we know, and I've talked to Mark Birchfield about this, Joe, it could be the Army Corps of Engineers.
I understand,
So
yeah. I understand it's been changed 2-3 times, and who knows what.
Right.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we have the announcements of the Board of Directors. Bob, please.
Thank you, and welcome back. The board is currently renegotiating the contract with First Service Residential. We have hired a consultant, Karen Conlon from Sequoia Grove Consulting. We're now in the process. We'll be finished up probably within the next month. We're looking to increase accountability and significantly decrease the cost to us. Due to popular demand, the board has rehired the street sweepers on a month-to-month basis, started July 27th. It was the same company we had last year. We're looking for other companies because sometimes they just push it around, but we're doing our best to make sure that everything's cleaned up, and if we can get a better company doing a better job, we will look into that. The board approved the renovation of the Sandwedge, and it'll be rebranded and reopened as the Sandwedge Bar and Grill on September 11th. Most of the funding for that will come from our Capital Improvement Fund. Tammy Morgan, our Executive Assistant General Manager, was surprised with an award from the Master Board for her dedication and service. She's worked here for 33 years and has done an outstanding job. If you need to get something done, you see Tammy. And last but not least, the new and large stop signs have been received and are now being installed. There's 100, but it's not 100 additional, just 100 to replace the older, worn-out, smaller ones. And there will be about 5 or 6 additional stop signs put in pursuant to the request from the Safety Advisory Committee. Mike Volz, the other Mike Volz, is doing a good job with that safety assessment plan, and we're following up with their recommendations.
Thank you, Bob. The board also has approved the pavement management plan for year 2. We're using a company called JB Bostic for the amount of $372,182. They were the lowest bidder, and that was the direction we chose to go. The board accepted the resignation of Raynell English from District 16 and appointed Greg Voitko, I always forget Greg, sorry. Welcome aboard. The board approved the recommendations from the Restaurant and Lounge Committee to develop a rule regarding how to prevent multiple tables from being saved in the lounge or veranda area. Also, they recommended a loyalty program and a Sunday special in the lounge. So we are working with administration, who's working with food and beverage to develop those 3 things. Michelle already handled the marketing. And the pool, we are going to be bringing back our monitors for the pool for the afternoons. We've been having a lot of problems. I'm going to kind of steal off what Steve said a minute ago with regards to responsibility for your pets. Be responsible for yourself and for your guests. There's a lot of kids in diapers that have been in pools, and that's causing us, one of the reasons that we're having to put the monitors back in place. Also, the Sun Lakes HOA has just recently joined the Banning Chamber of Commerce. So that's all from us.
Could you repeat what we're spending $372,000 on?
Yes, it was the paving plan. I believe it was originally a 5-year paving plan, and we're on year 2, but we're already a year behind because we took the 1 year off during COVID.
Okay.
Street paving.
A report from the administration.
Thank you, Joe.
Wait a minute, excuse me. You have a question? Use the microphone, please.
Thank you. Jim Nickel, District 3 again. Does that cover the guest parking areas in our districts because they're in terrible shape? Mine in particular, there's no lines left, and all the slurry coat is all, it's like dust. And will that cover that, and when will it start, please?
Yeah, Jim, it's on a schedule. I don't know if that is included in this year's or if it's next year's. I believe this year comprises most of District 7 along Bay Hill and that whole Bermuda Dunes area there, all that of District 7 over there. I also think that we have added in Palmer because that is a major thoroughfare for golf carts coming from the north side over to the main, and it is horrible if any of you have driven down Palmer. So that's the areas that I believe they're hitting this year. Jim, they will be out to reassess and move there for next year.
Now, I'm getting a lot of comments from residents, obviously, that the parking lot's in such bad shape, and we have a lot of visitors in our district, so I'm just trying to get a frame line. I'm here 2 years and it hasn't been touched, so it's in the works. I'll keep you on it. Thank you so much, Jason.
Raylene.
Raylene Kretschmann, District 7. During the Master Board meeting, Randy, they mentioned, I think it was Chris that might have mentioned, that the city where they're ruining some of the streets, they just did some work on one of our streets and that it now has big old bumps in it. I understood that we were going to go during this repaving and charge the city for some of that. Is that correct?
I'm going to let Jason answer that because I wasn't aware of that last part.
Yes, a couple years back, I sent them an invoice for about $70,000, and they paid it. So I said, why the heck not hitting them up every year? So yes, what we do is we look at what the city has done when they come in and repair those leaks and the cruddy job they do on the patches. And then when we have the street redone, we charge them for that patch. So this past year, again, they I think it was about 40-some-odd thousand that they gave us in repairs. And so we were able to hit some of them. We'll hit them up again this year and see, what we can get out of them to repair some of those that they have so poorly fixed.
Go ahead. One last question.
Quick question. You mentioned the sand wedge and the remodel of that, and yet you listed it as a capital improvement expenditure. How do we justify that when capital improvements are for new amenities and not existing? That's
okay,
what
so
the repair
it's,
replacement
I guess the
funds for.
remodel is not the right word. Redo, I'd say. What is a cafe counter will now become a bar. That is a change. That's not something that's existing. Right now, it's currently not a functional bar. What we need to do is turn that into a functional bar. So that is a change there. That is allowed under the law for capital improvement because it is currently not a bar, it's a cafe counter. So that's all that's being done. So there's no seating changes, no any other changes. It's just the bar as well as the addition of 2 large screen TVs, which is also capital improvement that's not in there added in. The AV for it, 90% or about 75-80% of that is capital improvement. Adding in computer inputs, more cable boxes to be able to watch all the different games and all different things on the TVs.
And what's the price tag at right now?
Oh, Sharon, right off the top of my head, I wouldn't be able to. I know the board authorized the 75, and I think it's right about that is what it is.
Thank you, Jason. Do you have a separate report for the administration?
I got a few items. Thanks, Joe. First off, just want to talk about internal communication. Since the inception of bulk cable here at Sun Lakes, which is in the early 2000s, I believe, Channel 97 has been deemed the internal communication of Sun Lakes. That's why you'll see a lot of our notices and everything go out on that. We're trying to upgrade, and we have over the years, which is also now include the website. We've gotten now to where we have the e-blasts. So that's what we use as our internal communication. Our phone system that we currently have is very outdated, to say the least. We do not have the ability to notify homeowners through our phone system. What we are looking at with the board, Randy and I are going to be tackling this here in probably the fourth quarter of this year, looking at upgrading the phone system so that we can and will be able to have the ability to send text messages to homeowners, do notices out of that sense. But currently, right now, we do not have that. So that's one of the things that's in the works. With the fire, you know, when we had the fire right here, it was great. They were taking the water out of our lakes, and everybody was so happy and taking care of it. And then 1 week later, we have the bench fire, and they're pulling water out of our lakes, and I get complaints from homeowners that they're taking our water out of our lakes. So, you guys, unfortunately, we can't always have our cake and eat it too. They are going to pull from our lakes. If there's a fire in this pass area, they are going to pull from our lakes. I can guarantee you that 100% every single time. Okay, so just know that. It's good for the community. You know, we help out. We don't lose as many homes in this community. So please know that they will use the water out of the lakes again, even if the fire is not right in our backyard. The stop signs, I know Bob and Randy talked about new stop signs being put in. I know for years and years, at least the 10 years I've been here, it's always been an issue of people speeding down Country Club. Why? Because there isn't a stop sign from the time you get into gate 1 till the time you get gate 3. What the community, or the safety community committee has recommended, and which is going to take place, is adding a few stop signs along Country Club. They're looking at 3. One will be right outside the main clubhouse right here. I will tell you how many times I come in the morning and there's a car following right behind me, and I'm slowing down to make the turn, and that car's either slamming on his brakes or going up on the curb to go around me. A stop sign will help that. Stop sign at Glen Eagles. It's another thoroughfare coming from gate 5. And a stop sign right at Allen and the golf course maintenance exit. Reason being is we've already had 2 accidents there. So the safety committee looked at that, and they recommended to put new ones there. So we will see how that does on slowing people down going around Country Club. Lastly, budget season. There will be budget schedule coming out this week. It'll be posted to the website, online. It'll be, copies will be here at the clubhouse, posted at the north and south in the little display cases. Make sure you check that out. Look when the workshop is. The board would love to have you there. So look for that to come out this week. And that's it, Joe.
Thank you. Okay, announcements from the delegates. Let's keep them as brief as we can. Beginning with 23.
23 has no comment.
22 has no comment.
That's pretty brief.
21, no comment.
District 20, I just want to let everybody know that I am the new district delegate. There were some emails that were sent out to our previous district delegate, so I had no knowledge of them, and phone calls. So if you want to write down my email, it's real simple, kreed713@gmail.com. So if you could change your list to reflect that, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Linda Spalding, District 19. I think a couple of months ago, I asked if we had created the addendum to allow the chair of the delegate assembly to cast votes for a district that did not have a delegate. And I don't know, I haven't seen anything, so I don't know if we have done that. Also, we had put in that, it currently says that a master board member has to live here for 1 year. I know when I was on the board, we asked for 2 years, and I'm wondering if we can bring that back. Why?
A couple years ago, if you guys all remember when the association had updated its election rules based off the state of California, part of that was that you had to be here just 1 year.
Okay.
So with that, we couldn't go any longer. Because
Okay.
you're right, Linda, it was 2 years until that came out, and that wiped that out.
Okay, thank you. Who writes the addendum, Joe, for you to be able to cast the vote? Who writes that up?
I'm sorry?
Who will write the addendum so that the chair of the delegates can cast the vote for a district who does not have a delegate?
I think that's in the CC&Rs.
No, because you couldn't cast the votes for District 8 at the last election.
Well, that would have to be a vote by the community.
Yeah, that would be a governing document change, not just,
Wouldn't
not
it?
just adding an addendum.
That would have to be on a ballot and a vote by the community.
Okay.
And you need, what, 75%?
So is that something that Joe makes a recommendation to the board to put on the ballot, or does the board just put it on the ballot? Or do we forget about it?
I would recommend it come from Joe or from this committee, this assembly.
Okay.
Nita Cook, District 17. Are you going to have a schedule for the paving, when it's going to start and where it's going to start?
Yes. Yes, the paving, we will.
Fly tried to attack me.
When will we get that?
I will work with Mark Schleiden on it. I know that they are looking to probably start work end of August, beginning of September. So you will definitely, everyone affected will definitely be notified. I don't think 17 is in this year at all. Mark's coming up, maybe he can speak up on that.
You said it's...
Mark's going to speak upon that right now, Nita.
Hello, real quick. The board just approved that proposal for BJ Bostic, so there is no timeline of when this starts. Our best guess is hopefully end of September, early October. Once we make agreements with the contractor is responsible to put the scope of work and the timeline together. So then that way we will issue letters to the districts, and then we'll do email blast and other issues. Once again, it is District 7. Also, all 3 main clubhouses are going to be restriped, not reslurried, just restriped. That is the scope of work. So everybody outside of that will not be affected.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mark.
Uh-huh.
Greg Voitko, District 16. I would suggest that we just ensure that we have representation of all districts, so all votes cast are counted.
Okay.
Easier said than done.
Yeah. Judy?
Judy Crail, District 15. I had a couple of questions that I have been asked. First of all, the awnings for the bocce courts was approved. Do you know when those will be here?
Yes, we are working with Dennis Fields, and he's been told that they will start work on the 30th, since that's when the bocce closes down and they're done with their league for the season. So work will take place August 30th through September 12th. So that'll way it'll be ready when they start them.
Thank you. And I have another question. What are the rules for signs in our front yard? For example, I have made up some signs for my neighbors, or for my district, actually. I'm going to put it in the newsletter that they would be able to use. Because of all of the water and the bugs and this and that, my husband and I have made up our own spray, and it's not harmful to pets. But some people are using spray and putting out poison that is harmful to our neighbors' pets. Can we, and one of them was told she could not put up a sign. I thought if we spray, I have this that says, please keep your dogs off of my yard temporarily. It has been sprayed. It works. People don't want their dogs harmed. And she said she cannot put up a sign. Is that true?
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's not that she can't put up a sign, it's what is that sign made of that she's putting up? What we can do is we can restrict what materials that sign is made of. And cardboard that has green tape strung around it, around a tree, does not suffice. So that's the reason why she was told that she couldn't put that sign up. Now, if the sign was made of a sign material, whether it be metal or that plastic you see with the H frames, That is allowed, as long as you can keep it under 9 square feet, so under 3 by 3. Those are allowed, non-commercial signs,
Okay,
as long as it doesn't have any profanity or derogatory terms or anything on it as well.
okay.
Okay.
All right, and I have one other question. I'm not sure who could answer this for me, but I have a resident that she is 97 years old and her husband is 101. They are not in good shape. They live over on Turnberry. The husband, evidently the daughter has come and got him, but she's there by herself. My EPAP coordinator has been checking on her. She doesn't want help. She doesn't want to go anywhere. The house is in disrepairs. What can we do about that?
It'd be contacting Adult Protective Services possibly. But we would.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's what that's what I'm saying, is that really there's nothing more we can do than just ask her if she wants help, which she's clearly said she doesn't. So anyway, just wanted to ask that. Thank you.
Jeannie Vaughn, District 13. I think more commendation should go to anybody who helped do anything with the fire. It's one of those things you just sort of do what you feel you should do, and if there's a rule, we don't worry about it right then. We just do what we have to do for our friends and neighbors. And watching helicopters and seeing the fire from your front yard is a bit disconcerting, but I think I was happy that it got taken care of quickly and everybody did a good job. I have a couple neighbors that in my district that used to be able to pick up their food in behind the wherever where they could order and pick up, and we haven't been doing that, and I've gotten some calls that they would like to be able to do that. Now, I understand staffing in the restaurant could be an issue, but if there was some way that that could be possibly reinstated, and if we're doing the capital improvement to improve the sandwich, possibly that could be another improvement that could be made with an additional parking space out back, or figure out, and the board look into it, go out there and scratch your heads and see if you can come up with a way to allow people to park back there for 5 minutes to pick up some food. I think it would be a good revenue increasing. And I think the plan to improve the sandwich is extremely wonderful. I mean, if we're trying to bring money in to the restaurant, I think it's good, because we've talked that this is a younger Sun Lakes than it always was before. And people come in after work, they want to go watch a game, have a drink. They may not want to go eat dinner in the dining room and make a big production, but they just want to go meet their neighbor and watch a game, or sit there and watch TV and have a drink. I think the revenue will come and the money will be there. And that's where we need to focus on, is where's the money and where does it need to be? And if people aren't golfing as much and they're not eating the fancy meals in the restaurant, then yeah, do the lounge, do the sandwich, and bring the money in there so that we can see some improvement on the bottom line in the restaurant. And, but it's great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. We will look into your suggestions too.
Ann Hofert, District 12. One comment that I have, the stop sign. The new stop signs with the reflecting tape, I think they're terrible. I visit in District 16 in the evening. I watch cars going down Northwood to the gate, and I watch them go through the stop sign. They don't stop. The reflectors are there, I see them, but they don't stop. So my recommendation is on main sections, main intersections of our community, they should have had the light flash with the solar. That is something that you see. And going through it's very, very, very unsafe. And there are people walking, there's people with their bikes, they're driving around. It's not right. So my comment, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. It's difficult to control people's behavior. We're improving what we had. The signs are larger. They have reflective tape. The other flashers are very expensive. If we were to purchase those, it would be excessive in cost. So we're just following the recommendation of the safety committee's plan, and hopefully people will see the signs and begin to slow down, and we will again review what happens with the new signs. But thank you for your comments.
Pat Puckett, District 11. I have no comments.
What?
Oh, no. Continue this way. Go ahead.
Dolores Doherty, District 4. I'm friends with Barbara Searcy, and you know who Barbara Searcy is. She started the All Is Well program. She asked me if I can mention that she is in need of more volunteers to help her out with the people that are living alone and want to be contacted because they get lonely. And I have some in my district. I'm sure all of you do. But if you want to get a hold of Barbara, her phone number is 951-663-3382. And she will take down your information and match you up with somebody that would like to be getting a phone call. It's once a week, twice a week. My EPAP coordinator calls someone 3 times a week. So that's it with that. And you mentioned that you're going to do the monitoring of the pool, correct? Yes, Steve, I remember Steve Neese brought that up at the open session board meeting. And Mike and I went to the pool last Thursday, and it was almost 9 o'clock at night, and there was a 10-year-old boy in there with his family. So I immediately contacted Securitas. They were in the process of changing shifts. So I sent a text to Mike Romero, who got right on top of it and got someone over here. So we definitely need to have monitors at our pools. And the last thing, I already mentioned the Coexisting with Wildlife seminar or meeting that we're going to be having on August 26th. But I wanted to ask you, because I've brought this up several times about the community table, not heard anything about it.
I believe the recommendation had been that there was not a big push to implement it. We will, whatever you recommend, we will reconsider. But I would like to comment about the All Is Well. It's an excellent program that she began years ago, and I know I've been participating in it, and I call the every day, certain time, and end up being not only helping them, but almost like a family member. I mean,
correct.
You care for them, and it's a great program. So if you have a chance, please contact her and get involved in the All Is Well program.
Yes.
And Dolores, one
Thank
other
you.
thing on the community table. We did talk to administration about it as well, and Food and Beverage is looking into what they can do on it. Okay. Thomas had been on vacation, as you know. So hopefully they'll come back to us, or at least through Chris and Jason, to decide, what, if they can figure out where to put it, what to do, or if to do it, and so forth.
Don't put it in the middle of the restaurant. Linda Vieira already said that's a bad idea.
No scarlet letter on it.
Thank you.
Yes, just 2 comments, I guess, in regards, first was in regards to the lounge expansion. The only thing I guess I would ask before we look at spending $800,000 more of capital improvement funds for lounge expansions is that an appropriate analysis and a proof of concept be done to ensure that that kind of investment would result in the revenue generation that you're referring to. Because already this year we have blown through the entire budgeted losses, I believe, for this year has already been lost. So now we're on to what you might as well call charity for the rest of the year, because it's just going to cost us more. The other one is, Linda, what you brought up in regards to the election. Yes, there were issues, and as most of you know, I actually ran in that election. So the first one you brought up was the fact that District 8 was disenfranchised, if you will, by not being counted. Their ballots weren't even opened, let alone counted. And I did ask questions of Jason in regards to, they did at the time of the election on April 12th, the delegate actually was still in place. That delegate did not, their resignation was not accepted until later that month at the open board session. So I challenged the question as to whether or not, in fact, those ballots should have been opened and counted. The other concern was the anomaly of District 1 not voting at the direction of their, the delegates, or the district itself. So the district voted. Gary Burkle took first, I took second, and Howard Katz took third in that district. However, the district delegate themselves took all 108 of those votes and split them between Lori and Beverly. So I guess my question is, we as district delegates here were elected to represent the people in our district and serve them in that purpose. So my question is, and I know, Joe, you had mentioned as well about that possibility, and that we should vote that we, the delegates themselves should vote with them. So what will that be done, and will you also include that in your recommendation? Later. Oh, later, you'll put that in your recommendation later?
Oh, I'm going to address it.
You will reconsider. Oh, okay, thank you.
And I can just address it. The delegate for District 8, the letter of resignation was received with a date of immediate, and that was prior to the election. So the resignation date was prior to the election, and that's why there was no representation for District 8.
Linda Vieira, District 9, no report.
Let me respond briefly to the lounge expansion. The lounge expansion is a direct result of the continual loss that we've had in the restaurant. We are in the process of reducing the losses there, reducing the size of the restaurant, and expanding our lounge. The lounge has always been profitable, and I'm not sure why you're shaking your head. I mean, we have verification of that. You can just look at the numbers. So we're using the capital improvement fund to try to reduce the losses in the restaurant and expand the profits in the lounge. And this has been explained at a prior town hall, and it was also, we did an extensive survey through the delegates through Ajit, and it was overwhelmingly supported, I believe like 83%. So right now we're continuing to work on the actual what it's going to look like. It still hasn't been decided. Right now there probably will not be a fire pit. We figure that even though that would look great, but it's kind of costly, so we're not going to include that. But it is going to be a big enhancement to what we have, and it is going to reduce the losses that we have in the restaurant.
Okay. If I may, I think it was $12,000 that the lounge made in 2022. $12,000 total. So I just, if we're going to talk numbers.
Excuse me, if you want to debate, I'm not sure what you're trying to get to here, but if you want to debate, this is not the position to do so. We can discuss it afterwards. I know it was a campaign situation that you pursued, and I appreciate the results of that.
Just trying to be clear. Thank you.
Raylene Kretschmann, District 7 delegate. First of all, we're very pleased with the stop signs. We appreciate them. We were excited. I took pictures of them and posted them. At night, you can see them. They're very clear. We're also excited in District 7 that you're going to be resurfacing our streets, yay, and doing the signs. I want to make a comment. During the open session, there's a lot of miscommunication, erroneous information being bandied about. A gentleman, Mr. Greg Cochran, a resident of Shinnecock Drive, expressed dissatisfaction with the election results, particularly regarding the outcome of the candidates he supported. He directed his comments toward an elected delegate, calling them out by name, and proceeded to make unfounded accusations toward her, as has Sharon. So what I'd like to do today is ask Jason if he will clarify for the assembly, the delegates, because many of them are not understanding it either, what the actual CC&Rs and bylaws state with regards to if there's not a quorum in your district.
Okay, so this is a second amendment to the bylaws that was done in December 17, 2008. It is, give me a second here. Section 9B and A, 9BA refers to if there is a quorum, and 9BB refers to if there is no quorum. So if there is a quorum, so if the members of the affected district have instructed their delegate as to the manner in which the delegate is to vote on any issue,
speak slower.
On any issue voted upon by the delegates, the designated delegate shall cast the voting power of said district in the manner instructed by the members. That's if there is a quorum. B, if there is no quorum. In the absence of member voting instructions to the delegate, the designated delegate shall have no authority to, I'm sorry, I was reading you if there is no representation. Okay, so give me 1 second. So that's if there's no representation. So if there is no representation.
Slow down, slow down.
If there is no representation, that is it. So
50 plus 1.
the designated delegate, I'll go over this first and I'll go to the other one. Designated delegate, which is chair or vice chair or parliamentarian in lapse of the two of them. That is what they can do. So if there is a quorum of the district, then they can vote. If there is no quorum of that district, the designated delegate shall have no authority to cast votes for said district, which in turn means no votes are cast for said district. Okay, so that's that part of it. And then the second part, well actually I think it's all part of the same thing. Okay. Give me a second here.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Jason, let's also...
This is the CC&Rs.
Okay, also acknowledge the fact that every one of the delegates, this information is in your delegate handbook, and it clearly identifies it and clearly explains about a quorum and the rights of the delegates. Also, if you do not have the notebook for your, as a delegate, ask Joe or Dolores, and they will get you one. And it has all of this information in it. Go ahead, Jason.
Okay, so this is bylaws, section 8, delegate. If at a duly constituted meeting.
Jason?
Yes, sir.
Would you please use another microphone? I
Yeah,
am not
that microphone's
understanding
bad.
a word that
Give him
you're
one
saying.
of these.
Actually, Randy and Bob and Jason were using those other microphones. It was very hard to hear your
A lot better?
That's much
Okay. All right. So if at a duly constituted meeting of the members in the delegate's district, the members have instructed their delegate as to the manner in which he is to vote on any issue to be voted upon by the delegates, the delegates representing that delegate district shall cast the voting power which he represents in the manner instructed by the members. In the absence of any such instruction, which is quorum, so quorum is instruction, the absence of any such instruction, the delegate shall have the authority to cast the votes which he represents in the manner as he may, in his sole discretion, deem appropriate.
Thank you, Jason. So it's important to note that the Master Board acknowledges its limitations in intervening with the delegates, making it clear that this recommendation is solely advisory in nature. So again, please clarify this. I've had questions come up in my district. There's been a lot of nastiness at the board meetings and accusations at the delegates. So you know that when we have a election, we have an outside company, correct, Jason, that comes in and validates it, and they follow the rules explicitly. They will go to that person and say, are you sure this is how you want to vote? that person says yes, then that's an accepted and authorized vote. So hopefully this is clarified, and again, look in your delegate handbook. It's all in there. Thank you, Jason.
Jesse?
It's quite peaceful in District 6.
So I felt.
We're happy campers in District 6. We have a new EPAP coordinator, and we're very thankful for the services provided to us by Mark and Jason. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
District 8, no comment.
David Miller, District 5, no comment. He had to leave early. I'm Jim Nickel, District 3. I have a couple of comments, please. The first one is I questioned some months ago about the evening extra shift on Securitas, because the understanding was the police were going to patrol through here, but they're lacking officers, and there's no consistent pattern on that. During the wee hours from midnight to 5 a.m., could we not add that second roaming person as we had last year? Is this still being considered? And I have another topic. Perhaps, Bob?
It will be reconsidered during the budget session.
Okay, thank you so much. My second point is we've had a lot of talk about the restaurant losses, and I've been sending analysis to the board and to the management company. I have 40 plus years in hotel management, restaurants, and I'm certified. And just to give you an idea, my residents, and especially since the board meeting last week, there's been a lot of concern about the losses. And to give you an idea, in June, our expenses were 161.14%. It's just totally unacceptable. The main concerns of my residents are that there may be a supplemental assessment and or our dues increased in January. The cost, labor, of course, food costs are the highest since December. I've been tracking this since last year when I became a member of this assembly, and these are totally not acceptable. We're buying $76,000 worth of food for $125,000 worth of revenue. And the point is, revenue is not the problem. We need to fix the costs. And I'm wondering if we have a plan of action. At this rate, we're going to exceed the year loss. To date, we're at 509,000, and I think the budget was around 600. We're only 6 months into the year, so by the end of the year, we're going to be close to $1 million. And maybe some of the residents don't know, but we put $42,000 a month from our annual dues into the restaurant. Each home, it's $1,264 a month, totaling $42,068 every single month. And the bar has some similar issues, but they are showing some profit. Labor is an issue there. But I do this analysis every month, and I send it to everyone. And just, we're concerned. I'm a homeowner. I'm very concerned. So I hope these issues will be addressed. Joe, welcome back. Dolores, great job covering for Joe. And that's all I have to say. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for the information, and we are addressing those issues.
Thank you. District 2.
Loretta Kuzar, District 2. I have a question for the Welcome Home Committee. A young lady called me and said that you were giving away license plate holders, and she did not receive one, and she would like to have one. That was
Joe, may I
before
answer that?
COVID.
Joe, may I answer that? So Loretta, we did not give out license plates frames last month, or last time. We didn't give them out last time. We've given them out in previous times. Last time we gave out the magnet, but we did not give out license plate frames last time.
I left off one statement that she made, and that was, she came during COVID, and they were giving them out and promised her one.
We didn't have anything during COVID. So she couldn't have gotten a license plate frame for us during COVID.
Just a question.
She can buy one at the pro shop.
Okay, great.
Barb?
Barbara Elness, District 1. I noted to my district in my newsletter several months in a row before the elections that if we did not have a quorum, their delegate would be voting for them. We did not have a quorum, and I voted for my district. I have not had one resident mention the election to me since then. I've heard from other people in other districts that seem like they're sore losers, but no one in my district seems to be concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. The residents of the HOA, any comments?
I forgot to mention something, I'm sorry. Michelle Walter, Community Awareness. At our last event, I had a lady that lives here. Her name is Daphne Thomas, and I'm going to give you her phone number. She works with the county, and she says if you have at-risk seniors in your district, they have a wellness kit that she is willing to bring to you. It doesn't matter how many you have. Her name again is Daphne, D-A-P-H-N-E. Last name is Thomas. Her number is 951-236-5042. And this is at-risk seniors, and it's a wellness kit. So if you're interested in that for some of your seniors that maybe can't get out of the house, and I don't actually know what's in it, you may call her, and she can tell you what's in there. Thank you. What's her name? Daphne, D-A-P-H-N-E, Thomas. And her number is 951-236-5042. Thank you.
Come up to the microphone, please. I would feel lonesome without your comments.
A very good meeting today. Appreciate it. I just wanted to touch base on the pending CCNR amendment. I know we haven't seen the recommendation by the attorney yet, and since it involves the membership, I personally would like to see that recommendation. California is a state that is heavily regulated in this area. Of course, I know the board knows this, but their first obligation is to keep the HOA solvent. And they do that two ways. They increase the dues or special assessments. However you want to dress them up, those are the two options. And it happens yearly, and there's caps on them. If you don't keep up, you may find yourself in a hole, which maybe that's what's happening here. Because we're considering adding fees, which can be challenged, can be an overreach. And so I'm questioning that. Move in and move out fees. Think of it. You go to sell your home, and the HOA is going to tack on or propose tacking on an additional $2,000, $3,000, whatever number they come up with. The buyer says, no, thank you. Are you going to pay the fee? How many of you would pay the fee to move? Okay, so now you've just paid a special assessment without a vote, without anything done by the board. So that technically, that's why they say in California is regulated, and that's, to me, it's not really permitted. If I have to negotiate with my buyer, I'm going to wind up paying that fee. So I question that aspect of it. It's kind of a slippery slope. You know, where does it end? 2,000 this year, but we're short again, 3,000. Special assessments and fees are supposed to be taken, mostly within the limits of the CC&Rs are supposed to be taken care of by the membership also. So in some cases, you have a right to vote on this. So I'm just asking that people think about this, because you could be paying the extra fee, the extra money into reserve with a one-class membership. That really shouldn't happen, give or take how you come about it. So I would appreciate the board considering that. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Greg Cochran.
Your name, please?
You just said it.
I did not get it. I'm sorry.
My name is Greg Cochran, and I
Thank you.
just wanted to respond since my name was mentioned. I appreciate that. I have what I read at the board meeting here if I need to reread it, but I never said that any delegate couldn't do what District 1 delegate did when voting against the people in our district because there was no quorum. Never said that. I was letting the whole entire community know that that could happen to you. Your vote not count, not matter. And I think that that borders on corruption, actually. Every person in Sun Lakes is entitled to vote and entitled to their vote to count as much as any other person. And that's all I was bringing to the community as far as that's concerned. Couple more comments. The truth will set you free. And the light of truth will always, always, always expose the darkness. Always. Someone sent me a text of an image. It was a beautiful picture with a gal in it, and I would kind of say she's an angel. And the text, the caption on that read, "The only people who are mad at you for speaking the truth are the people who are living a lie. Keep speaking the truth." Thank you.
My name is Don Day. I'm chair of the Finance Advisory Committee. I believe that you delegates are critical to the success of our community, and as such should be more involved in decisions being made. The Finance Committee and myself always have felt the fiduciary responsibility of the community and felt it important to provide the recommendation to the board that was discussed at the June meeting. We also appreciate Ron Varner of the Procurement Committee for actively participating in the meetings that were used to develop that letter. Contrary to what has been stated by the board and others, we did receive authorization to obtain proposals, and I have 7 pages of documented emails and open fact meeting minutes with board members present. Minutes of the June Finance Advisory Committee have been published on the Sun Lakes website for weeks and include discussions with Beverly Simmons, Lori Hazelton being present, regarding the efforts to obtain bids. The board could have stopped this project at any time and did not. Additionally, you may ask the fact liaison, Gary Burkle, for his understandings of our approval that was received in the June 14th executive session meeting. Our objectives have always been to provide the board with information to help them negotiate a new contract. And I find it disconcerting that only the comments that were made were about what we had done and nothing about the value of the information that was provided. I'll say a few things about the Troon proposal that we delivered at the June open board meeting. Support with policies and procedures are called out in many pages and actually include a board policy manual and practices for good board governance. One might ask why we need to spend $40,000 to $50,000 that we don't have to hire a consultant to write policies and procedures when we can get them included from our own management company. The contractor renegotiating the FSR contractor today was brought in and stands to earn an additional contract for the $40,000 to $50,000 of additional services stated above. I believe that you delegates have already commented previously that you do not agree with the MPI program and spending money to write policies and procedures. I might also ask the board, why would the board want to renegotiate a sole source contract with a company that the board has stated has had poor performance? Our operating cash has fallen from a 2018 level of over $2 million to only $496,000 at the end of 2022 under FSR. The cumulative restaurant losses over budget, not the losses, but the losses over budget since 2018 were $1,154,000, also under FSR management. The investment policy developed by the board in 2014 is still not being followed. Today I received a letter from the board that effectively removes me from the Finance Advisory Committee. There is nothing in that letter that says that we didn't have approval to obtain proposals. My removal from the FAC continues into the year-end holidays and silences me from management negotiation process, as well as the process to help develop the 2024 budget. My term is up at the end of the year, and I'm sure it will not be renewed. Therefore, the board has effectively permanently fired me from the FAC. In closing, it is sad that the board is taking disciplinary actions against people that volunteered to help the community just because they don't like the fact that those people don't agree with their opinions. It is no wonder that nobody wants to join a committee, especially the Finance Advisory Committee, that I actually tried to produce a video, recruitment video, that went on Channel 97. 55 people viewed it, and I have not received not one call from one resident showing interest. Thank you for your time.
Are there any other comments? Are there any? Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mary Jo McElwain. I'm the Vice Chair of the Finance Committee. In light of the board's decision to negotiate the contract with FSR and our understanding that we could offer our services, a FAC development team solicited information from 4 management companies. The sole purpose was to provide the board with the information to make an informed decision. We received responses from all 4 companies. From one of the companies, the largest management company in the country, we received a very detailed and all-encompassing response. Troon Management Company has 800+ golf courses, 600+ restaurants, and 104 HOAs. We did a preliminary review of their response and were impressed with their scope of services and a savings of over $250,000 per year to our community. Just to name a few of the services for Troon that they offer: a regional controller, 2 VPs of golf to assist the superintendents of golf, a VP of design and development, an in-house design team handling all aspects of a project, designers, architects, budget planning, cost controls, purchasing and delivery and installation. That's one item. The VP of restaurant and food, they established menus, marketing and sales, surveys, operation policies and procedures manual. Legal and compliance team to review documents and contracts. Internal audits of facilities and operations. An amazing buying power for golf equipment and supplies for food and beverage. They also offer a 0% labor burden. Our advice is that the board would be prudent to compare these services with FSR. We would also encourage the delegates for their input. The company representative would be delighted to meet with the board and the delegates for a question and answer session. The Davis-Sterling Act says that the board doesn't have to let the residents see any contracts. However, for transparency and good faith, the community should be able to see the summary of this proposal compared to FSR. Thank you.
Joe, welcome back.
Thank you.
Harry Finnegan, member of the FAC. And just like to make one comment. FSR is our management company. They're a great management company, one of the largest in the country, but they specialize in apartments and condos. They don't manage any other golf courses in the country. We've had a tremendous loss in the restaurant. We need a management company that knows how to manage a restaurant. And the FAC has contacted the largest in the country. We're very happy that they have made a 150-page proposal to manage us. I certainly hope that the delegates will get involved, and you should understand all aspects that's in the proposals from both companies before a decision is made on if there's going to be a change in management or if we're going to redo the one we have. The delegates should get involved.
I'm Ajit Desai. I'm not a member of the FAC. I watched this process from a mile away. I think it's a great thing that, the board is renegotiating the contract with FSR. But as a homeowner, I want the negotiations to be as strong as they can to get the best result, to get us the lowest cost with the greatest accountability. And I don't see how you can do it without looking at all these alternate proposals. I don't know what they are, but they seem great from the remarks that I've heard. So I would encourage the board, please, to open up all those proposals, look at them, side by side, and use this opportunity to drive the best bargain, to get the best deal. This is a unique opportunity. I think if they've been able to get the proposals, even though they were not authorized to do so, forgive them, what they did, or maybe discipline, you already disciplined them. Go to the next step and take that information and use it to the best advantage for the benefit of Sun Lake residents. Thank you.
Are there any more comments from our residents? So I guess I'm the only speaker that hasn't had its word. First of all, I want to thank all of you, those that are here, those that are watching on television, and those that are not, for all the cards and emails and phone calls wishing me well. It was heartfelt, and it was well received, and I want to thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart. Please don't fall. I'll repeat that. Please don't fall. I turned too quick and fell and broke my right hip. It's a pitiful thing to go through. I will tell you that now. And being in the centers and having the operation and then being now learning how to walk again is unbelievable. So don't fall. Remember that, morning, noon, and night. I have a couple of announcements. One is that there will be a delegate and alternate delegate workshop on October 19th. That's the third Thursday in October. We have approval to use the sand wedge, and of course, as in the past with the workshops, it is a closed meeting. Secondly, I have been requested by a number of delegates and alternate delegates to ask for the resignation of our vice chairperson, excuse me, for items that date back to prior to the election, showing preferential and comments in regards to candidates, making comments in regards to the CCNRs and the bylaws and what have you. I will not unless I am forced to repeat any of them specifically. I think all of you delegates have an idea of what I'm speaking of. I have been asked to ask for the resignation. I cannot do that. I did not elect the vice chairperson. The delegate assembly did. Therefore, it is up to the delegate assembly to remove or to reestablish that person in that position. So I would, at this station, unless there are any questions, I would ask for a motion. Go ahead.
Question? Question first. Question.
I would entertain a motion first, and then we will discuss.
Yes, proper procedure is you need a motion and a second to actually discuss the topic. So once that happens, then you can ask your question.
I didn't understand what he said.
No. Could you repeat that?
Yes, so any topic that if you want to discuss this topic, a motion has to be made first.
Okay.
So it can be a motion for discussion. It could be, it
All right.
just has to be a motion and a second first.
I'll make the motion for discussion purposes.
All right, go ahead.
I second the motion.
I'm sorry.
Are you asking for the
I am
motion to
asking for
remove
a
Dolores?
motion.
To
I am
remove?
asking for a motion to reestablish or to revoke the position,
And that's the motion I said that,
either or.
yeah, that's my motion for discussion.
Yes.
And then two people seconded.
I second the motion for discussion.
All right. Now we have a motion and a second. Any comments? Go ahead.
Could I go ahead? Joe,
Please. I will control this meeting.
Okay.
And go ahead.
Okay, one of the items that I am being asked to be removed was because I had, during a delegate assembly meeting, suggested to the residents that were not able to attend the candidate forum to go to the meet and greets for the three candidates that were running. I did not mention names, but I told them it was a good opportunity for these residents that were not able to attend or watch on Channel 97 to get information, to meet the candidates and ask questions. And I apologize to Lori Hazelton because I didn't mean to leave her out, but I told her, people already know who you are, you're already on the board, and I was just putting that out for people to know who these new candidates were. Now, that is not acceptable, but is it acceptable for the board president and the vice president to have their names attached to a very out there Facebook post endorsing Beverly Simmons and Lori Hazelton to be reelected? Why is that okay?
Joe, I'd like to
Any
make a
other
comment.
comment?
Make a comment.
Really?
When you're representing the delegates, the delegate assembly, you are not supposed to be giving your opinion. You're supposed to be giving the opinion of the delegates. That should have been brought up in the delegate meeting, and we should have voted on that. I mean, you can smirk if you want, but that's a fact. It's very unprofessional.
And what they did is
No,
not.
this is not a debate. Please
I would like to
make
have
comments.
a microphone, Joe. I'd like to answer.
I'm sorry?
I'd like to answer Dolores' question now that I have a microphone.
use the other mic, please.
All I'm going to say on that is the same thing I said from the stage. Any endorsement I made was not done while doing the duties of a board member in an assembly of such.
All right. Any other comments on the part of anyone here? Any delegate?
Yes.
I do.
Go ahead.
My question is, you're asking the question should we ask a delegate member to step down when you're not making clear what the accusations are against this person? I'm totally unaware of what you're talking about. You want me to make a vote either way when I have no knowledge?
Okay.
And you think everybody has this knowledge, but the knowledge that they may have may only be hearsay or gossip.
I shall read what I have received, and this is a consensus of probably a half a dozen or more memos. I have received emails and phone calls. As a concerned member of the Delegate Assembly, I would like to bring your attention to a series of serious infractions committed by the current Vice President of the Delegate Assembly. These infractions have raised significant concerns about the ability to hold the principles and the responsibilities of the position. As such, I strongly recommend that the Delegate Assembly vote on removal of the Vice Chair. The following are the infractions that have been observed and documented. Bias. During a Delegate Assembly meeting, she announced to the Assembly that 3 of the 5 candidates were having a meet and greet. Oh, God. I apologize for that. The 3 of the candidates were having a meet and greet and to be sure and attend. As Vice Chair, this shows her inability to act impartially and objectively. Abuse of authority. While speaking at a master board meeting representing the district assembly, she gave her personal opinion on another delegate's vote submission, as well as commenting on the CC&R voting rules. When a district does not have a delegate, their votes cannot be counted, stating that she felt that this was unfair and needed to be changed, all prior to any discussion with the Delegate Assembly. Such behavior jeopardizes the trust among the Assembly members and undermines the integrity of the Assembly decision-making process. Disdain for Assembly rules. She invited one of the prior candidates who was not enacted to the master board to sit in the delegate table. Given the severity and the persistence of these infractions, it is evident that the vice chairperson continues presence and the vice chair of the delegate assembly is detrimental to any of our values and goals. I urge you to carefully consider and so on. So I think that covers the rule infractions that have been stipulated depending on what your values are and what you think of the comments having been made.
Joe, I'm sorry.
Are
Joe?
there any, yes.
I have a recommendation. A lot of people are confused. They don't know exactly what happened. And I think it's unfair to Dolores and everybody else for us to rehash this now. Why don't we do that during our workshop, and that way Dolores can defend herself and people without airing dirty laundry in public on television, we can work through this.
Go ahead.
We can work through this, and we could do that at the workshop.
In other words, wait until October.
Yeah.
Do I have consensus on that? I see a lot of heads going up and down. David, this is just a matter for delegates and alternate delegates only. It's a point of order, yes. That Okay. Any other comments on the part of the delegates or the alternate delegate?
A point of order, you can table this motion, and that will accomplish what you want to do by dealing with it at a different event.
Good thing.
I make a motion that we table this issue.
Okay, first of all, I will withdraw the first motion, and second, on the part of anyone that seconded it, so that the table is clear of any motions. And I have a motion now to
table the issue for further discussion.
Table the issue completely until our workshop in October 19th.
Correct.
And I second it.
All right, I have the first and the second. I have a motion and second. All those in favor, raise your hands so we can count. All right, we have probably a unanimous consent on that, and therefore this matter is closed. This matter is closed, and this meeting is adjourned.